Hello, this is Curtis with AAA Forklifts. This is one of our refurbished 6,000 pound forklifts that we just finished up. And what I want to do is we're going to go through a series of videos that go through the inspections that we do as part of our planned maintenance program. And that way you guys can get a glimpse at the inspections that we do when we're on site as well as in the shop. And you can apply some of this stuff to the daily inspections that you guys do on your forklifts before they go into use. So today we're going to be working on the brakes. The brakes is obviously one of the more crucial parts of the forklift operation. And when these things are going through the refurbishment aspect, we do a full brake job. So we're already going in doing the brake cables, the wheel cylinders, we do the seals, the shoes, the hardware, and we also do the master cylinder. So this one shouldn't have any issues, but I'm going to show you kind of what we do. The first thing we do is check for fluids. So the fluids are always usually up in the dash, unless you have a master cylinder, which would be on some of the older ones up underneath the floor where the reservoir is on top of the master cylinder. You'll almost always have a reservoir up in here. So give it a little tug, get this out of the way, and you will see, and I'll go around to the other side so that you can see what I'm talking about, but right here is your reservoir. So if you come up underneath here, you'll see, and I can pull this out and away from you, but that's your fluid reservoir. So you want to check and make sure that that's full, and it's got a line that you want to stay in. It's got a low and a full line that you want to stay in. And to be honest, this reservoir needs a little bit of fluid. There's a max line, and I can show you here just so that you can see. But you got your max line there. Your fluid should be up in the max line. That's the fluid check. The next check is going to be on the e-brake. So this is your emergency brake. I'm going to leave this cover off just until we're done in case I need to make any adjustments. But you've got your e-brake handle here that you want to check and make sure that it's not too hard to pull, but it's not too easy, just on a general. And this one feels good. It feels a little bit tight. I could loosen it up a little bit, which you have your knob here that you can adjust and pull it to where it's somewhat reasonable to pull. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into gear, and I just want to keep this engaged. You shouldn't be able to push through the e-brake when you're in forward or reverse. If it doesn't push through, you're good to go. You also want to check it on an incline. So I've got a little bit of incline here that I'll drive to, and just make sure that it doesn't push or pull when I'm on an incline. Nothing. And now I'm going to go to, now I'm on an incline, and I'm good. Also going forward, and I'm good. So e-brake is good. The other thing that you want to check is your brake operation. So you make sure it stops forward, make sure it stops in reverse. I got good braking, but now what you want to do, you want to isolate your wheels. So forklifts drive from the front. So if we go around in a big circle, like if we do a left turn, your right wheel is going to be going in a big circle. Your left wheel's not really moving. That's testing the right side. You do a half turn. It usually takes about a half turn for the forklift to stop. If you have an issue where it goes in a full turn or more than a half turn, you may have a problem. And what I do is I compare consistency between left turn and right turn. If I have equal stopping, that means my wheels are equally applying the brakes, and you likely don't have an issue. So I'm going to drive forward a little bit and do a half turn and then hit the brakes. Stop good there. And stop good there. So brakes are applying like they're supposed to. No issues. The last thing you want is you have an inching pedal. So on this section here, we have a 2-pedal setup. You have your brake and then you have your gas. Half of this brake, I'm gonna put it in neutral to see, half of this brake, there's no pedal pressure. You can feel, I get to about here when I start having pedal pressure. So when I'm in gear, that first half is called your inching pedal. That should be disengaging the transmission so that you can hit the throttle while you're in gear. So I'm in gear now. I should be able to slightly press that pedal and then hit the throttle, and I'm not going anywhere. This allows you to raise the forks up in the air as opposed to just being slow and then raising it idle. It gives you a little bit of gas to be able to lift them up. And then once you let off the engine pedal, then you go into gear and you can get going. So you want to make sure that your engine pedal adjustment is where it's supposed to be, so that it disengages the transmission before or right at when you hit your brake pressure, and that way you can disengage that transmission to lift the forks up in the air. Other than that, the last thing you want to do when you're checking for brakes is, part of what we do on our inspection is we check in the wheels. So we'll check down in the holes and make sure that there's not any shrink wrap or any debris that's wrapped around the wheels. And this one doesn't have any, but we come to some and they're all wrapped up. And what that'll do is that'll wrap up in the wheel seals and cause it to start leaking fluid. And then you might have to pull the wheels off and either do a brake job because the shoes are soaked, or you've got to replace the wheel seals, which is a big job. So this is essentially the brake inspection. What we're going to do next is go through the steering aspect of it. As I had mentioned in the at the beginning of the video, we have a link on our website that we're going to be putting in this video, so that you can go to our website, download our inspection reports, and we also have a daily inspection for you guys to be able to use, and that way you can start utilizing some of these skills that we have on your own lifts to make them last longer. You know, with the PMs, we're coming out quarterly or semi-annual, so we want you guys to know how to check your lifts daily to make sure that they're going to last in between inspections. This is Curtis with AAA Forklifts, and give us a like or a subscribe.